I'm so happy to be back. I missed you guys so much last week. You guys were all I was thinking about, and I was so sad that I didn't post an episode. And I was like, I bet my friends miss me, and I bet they're wondering how my life is, and I bet they need advice from me because I'm so smart and I'm so amazing. And yeah, and that's the end of the episode. Okay, bye. Just kidding about all that, except the part that I missed you guys because I did. And we're gonna get into that. But welcome to Totally Not Unbothered. If you're new here, my name's Alyssa, and I'm your host. And it is my pleasure to be bringing you 45 minutes of complete thoughts in my mind and whatever I feel like talking about. I just licked my mic on accident. That's freaking gross. Thank goodness it's mine. Okay, so if you did not know, I clearly did not drop an episode last Wednesday like I'm supposed to. And I promise, there was a reason why I did not. So, 2 weeks ago, I was in New Hampshire. As you guys know, I was there babysitting, and it was amazing. It was so fun. We had so much fun every single day, and I loved it. It was such a great freaking time, okay? But I got back. I was obviously in New Hampshire. I live in Arizona, and that is a 4 hour difference, I think. I think it's 3 hours right now. I don't know. Don't yell at me, guys. I don't know, okay? Anyways, no, it was 3 hours. They're 3 hours ahead. So when I got back, I was just so groggy. I was so tired. I was getting tired at like 8 o'clock at night. Then I was waking up at like 6 in the morning. I wanted to take a nap at 11. I was working my job. It was just a lot. Mentally, I was going through a lot. Physically, I was exhausted. And whenever my physical like being is not doing okay, I start getting sick. I start feeling like shit. And then my mental load just starts lessening. And so I was just like, no, I was like, I cannot add a podcast on top of this. I am not in the right mindset right now. I need a break. And that is one thing I am always, always, always going to push for, whether it's me, my friends, anybody, anybody. If you are tired, if you are exhausted, if you are struggling or stressed, take a break. Take a break because there have been so many times where I have not. And I promise we will get into all of that eventually. But yes. So that is why I did not post an episode last Wednesday. I'm so sorry about it, but you guys were super understanding and super nice and amazing as usual. I was a bit worried, but I'm back. I'm better. I'm ready to hit the ground running again with episode 8. And yes, I cannot guarantee that I will not miss another Wednesday just because, as we know, life happens. We can't control every single thing. If we could, that would be freaking amazing. But unfortunately, we can't. And life does happen. Majority of the time, life happens and we roll with it. We have to roll with the card, with the dealt that we're given. We have to play the dealt we're given even if we don't want it. So life happens, but I will always do my best to keep you updated. I will always do my best and try to get an episode out if I'm in the mental state, because one of the biggest topics in this podcast or surrounding my podcast is prioritizing mental health and prioritizing your mental health. And I will never not preach something and not take my own advice. That's just being a hypocrite. It's very hypocritical, and that's not me. So I will never sit here and be like, keep your mental health safe, protect your peace, blah, 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 and then go out and risk mine or fuck with mine, and put my mental health in a dangerous space. So, yes. But like I said, thank you for understanding. Thank you for being so freaking amazing. I love you guys, and I'm so happy you guys are here. If you're new, like I said, welcome. Hope you guys stick around for the whole episode. It is episode 8, and this week's episode is one that I have been super, super excited to talk about. This was actually going to be last week's episode, but it obviously got moved to this week. But I'm still super excited about it. I am a bit tired, but it's okay. We are going to get through this thing together, like every episode, and I'm happy to be back, whether it's on your screens or in your cars or just on your phones or wherever you guys are hearing me from. I'm happy to be there. Okay? Eh, let's get into it. Oh, before I do no, actually, I'll save that. I'll save that for the end of the podcast. I have a little surprise for you guys. But anyway, so this week's episode, we are going to be talking about college and how it is not the end all be all, but sometimes it feels like it is. So, I wanted to talk about this episode, especially right now, because if you did not know, I am a senior. I am a senior at Arizona State University, and that is crazy for me to think about. Absolutely bizarre, might I add. It feels like just last year I was graduating high school, and I had one last summer before I started my college journey. It feels like just yesterday I was going through that, and it feels like just yesterday that I was waiting to get my college decisions, to get my applications done, and all of that stuff that comes with applying to colleges. So to be sitting here in front of you guys telling you that I'm a senior in college is absolutely crazy. Not because I didn't think I would make it here, because let's be real, I knew I would. Hello, one, I wouldn't have let myself not make it here. Two, my mom or my dad would not have let myself not make it here. So me not making it here was never an option. But it still is just so surreal. So, anyways, school for me started last Thursday, so it is officially in the swing of senior year, and it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy, but yes. So, because this me starting my senior year kind of made me look back at my last senior year, which was in high school, it that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring up this episode, because my last senior year of high school was me applying to colleges, and looking back at that, it kind of made me remember those feelings when it came to applying to colleges. I was stressed and I was anxious that I wasn't going to get into the schools that I wanted to, because there was this like idea that college was an end all be all, that it was going to make or break me. I am going to be the first one to tell you that it will not. Okay? So, strap in, get your popcorn, get your emotional support water bottles. I do not have mine today, unfortunately, but buckle in, because we are going to be totally not unbothered as we talk about why college is not the end all be all. Okay? Okay. Let's get into it. So, when it comes to college, I feel like the word college is very, very scary and can be very intimidating. Um, at least it was to me. So for me, when it came to college, there was just this pressure surrounding it, surrounding this idea of college, surrounding college itself. For me specifically, there was this pressure when about choosing the right college. It came from teachers, it came from peers, it came from other friends. It just came from all of these people in my life that I had to make the right choice. That there was a right choice when it came to college and there was a wrong one. And I had to choose the right one. It felt as if where I chose to go to college for the next 4 years, like I said, would either make me or break me. It was going to be the absolute best decision of my life, or I was going to want to transfer and hate the college that I was at. So, yes, that's how it felt like when it came to choosing the right path, choosing the right school for me. I felt like I had to pick a perfect school. I felt like there was a perfect school for Alyssa, and I had to find it and I had to pick it. And at 17, 18 years old, that is a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. It was really hard, because one, I am a first generation college student. Neither of my parents went to college, you know? So, granted, my dad is getting his degree now, but it's a bit different now, you know? So, when I was applying to colleges, the only kind of like the only person I could look up to when it came to this like process was my older sister, but her process was completely different than mine because, well, she was an athlete. She got a scholarship to play basketball, you know? She didn't have to do the same process. She didn't have to go through the same process that I went to. So it really felt like I was alone in this college process. And granted, I wasn't. You know, I had my parents, I had my siblings, I had my friends, I had my boyfriend at the time. Um, but there wasn't anybody that I could really like be like, "Hey, like what do I do?" You know? I mean, I did have my college advisor, you know, she was great and she helped as much as she could. Well, my high school, she was a high school advisor who her goal was like college advising. So, yeah. Um and she was amazing and you know, she helped a lot, but it was hard because I felt like a lot of like when it came to like my close circle, like my family, nobody really like understood this pressure to pick a right school and how I would know if a school was right for me. Um, because that wasn't something that people just went over, you know? I mean, when I was in high school, everybody had these dream schools. Or I'm from Texas, I'm from El Paso, Texas, you know? So in El Paso, most of the time, people don't leave. Most of the time people go to the college that's in El Paso, which is UTEP, and they stay there, they graduate, and then they stay in El Paso the rest of their life. I'm a military kid, as I've mentioned before. I've grown up all over the country. I've experienced tons of different cultures. I love moving. I love traveling. I love seeing the world. So staying at like going to UTEP was never like a real option for me because that was something that I didn't want, you know. And that's in no way like hating or bashing anybody who stayed there because it's a good college, it's a great college, you know, and everybody has to make decisions that are best for them. But for me personally, it just didn't feel right for me because it felt like it was going to be high school again, and I didn't want that, you know. I didn't want to be surrounded by the same people I was just in high school with for 4 years, plus middle school and elementary school. For me, that wasn't going to be good mentally because I had gone through so much mental shit in El Paso that I didn't want that to carry into college. I wanted something new and different. I wanted to be somewhere different. So it was just so hard because it felt like everybody in my high school knew where they wanted to go. You know, most people wanted to go to UT or UTEP or UTSA or Texas Tech, you know. Most of these people had been dreaming about these schools since they were kids. And here I am, 17, not knowing where I want to go. You know, my dream school at one point was University of Arkansas because I thought I was going to be amazing at track and I was going to be able to walk on and the coach was going to be like, "Yes, we want her." That didn't happen. Um and so I didn't have this school that I didn't have like a call. I didn't feel like one school was better than the other in terms for me because I didn't feel like there was this right choice. There were obviously schools that I was more excited to when I got accepted, you know, like K State. When I was a kid, K State was that dream college. I remember telling my mom, like, I wanted to go into the veterinarian program at K State because at 5, 6 years old, that's exactly what I wanted to do. UConn was one of those colleges that was a bit more exciting to get into. Um, and like I said, University of Arkansas. Ironically, ASU was not one of those colleges that I was super excited to get into. You know, it was kind of just like I applied to ASU because my boyfriend at the time went there, was going there. Um, and I was like, fuck it, I'll apply too. I didn't even know ASU existed before I met him. If I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I did not. Judge me, don't. I don't really care. It was my life and my decisions. So I didn't have this school that I idolized like my peers. And it made me feel lost. It made me feel kind of unsure of my decisions and my choices and where I should go and what I wanted to do, you know? And as like people were deciding on their colleges and like being like, yeah, okay, like I want to go here, it was kind of like, well, shit, like, am I making the right choice? Like, what am I gonna do? Sorry, I'm like hot and then cold and then hot and then cold, so just bear with me. Um, but yeah, so it was just this unnecessary pressure. I say unnecessary pressure because eventually there was this reality check. So let me walk you through my college process slash experience. So I applied to colleges, right? I applied to K State, I applied to UConn, I applied to Oregon State, um, University of Arkansas, ASU, USC. Um, I didn't apply to many schools because, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how many schools I should apply to. If I could do it again, I probably would have applied to the UCs. I Yeah, I would have applied to probably all the UCs in California. I probably would have applied to University of Oregon also. I probably would have applied to some of the SEC schools. I probably would have applied to a lot more schools than I did. Okay, but I'm grateful for my experience, 100%. So, anyways, I'm a senior in high school, and I wanted to run track in college. That was what I truly, truly, truly wanted to do. I had gotten an offer from Kansas Wesleyan University, and I signed, I committed everything. I had a signing, I signed my letter of intent in front of people. I did it all. I was ready to go, and I was going to leave for the summer, start workouts, and be good to go. Mind you, I had just come off of a shoulder surgery. So I didn't feel 100% ready, but I felt confident enough. My family comes in for graduation. We're talking, we're joking around, like, oh, what if you just go to Connecticut? Okay, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I'll just see if I can go back. I'll just see if I can get my admission reinstated into UConn. That seems like a great idea, right? Yeah, everybody thought it was great. I don't know if my mom thought it was great, but I was like, yeah, okay, my family's there. It makes so much sense. So I called up the coach and I said, hey, I don't want to run anymore. I'm not comfortable with my shoulder, which was also true. I was a bit worried, and I made the right call because 4 years later, 3 years later, my shoulder is still messed up. I just got MRIs on it. It's busted again. So I will be needing surgery again. And that is without having ran again. So I can only imagine running would have intensified it and sped up that process. So I email UConn. I'm like, hey, can I get my admissions reinstated? Nope, sorry, we're at the max amount of people we're gonna let in this year. Maybe you can apply in the spring though. Okay, cool. What do I do, mom? Mom says, I don't know. You don't really have an option. Why don't you just go to UTEP for now and we'll figure it out? Okay, I'll go to UTEP. I go to orientation. First day, after first day, I leave crying. I go to my boyfriend, now ex boyfriend. I get into his car. He picks me up and I'm crying. I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot go there. It feels like high school all over again. That is not the place for me. Everybody's asking, weren't you going to go to run track? Weren't you going to go to run track? Weren't you going to go to run track? Yes, Bob, I was. Okay. But guess what? Things fucking change. Mind your damn business. Okay? Okay. You weren't even close to being a college athlete. So shut up. Okay? Yes, I'm bitter, but it's fine. My mom and me are talking about it, and me and my mom get into a big fight. I'm pissed. I'm upset. I'm telling myself, I cannot live here for another semester. I cannot. I need my space. I need freedom. I need to get out of here. So I apply to a small school called Southern Connecticut State University. It is the closest thing that I can get to UConn right now. And I'll just apply to UConn in the spring. I get into Southern Connecticut State. I tell my mom I applied. I got in. That's where I want to go. She says, okay, you want to go to Southern Connecticut State University? That's where you're going to go. I say, okay. So we get to Southern Connecticut State, SCSU. We get there, and I don't have a roommate. My roommate dropped out, or her mom didn't let her register. I don't know what happened. I don't have a roommate. Everybody was like, how was that not a dream come true? I was alone in a new state. I was like thousands of miles away from my family. I had family in Connecticut, but I was away from my friends, I was away from my family, I was away from my boyfriend. It was a lot to handle, and I knew nobody. I got depressed, I got fat, And it was just a bad time for me. I ended up getting a roommate. Love her to death. She's amazing. We're still friends to this day. If she was my roommate in the beginning, I can guarantee I would have at least stayed the year. But I'm so depressed. I'm just hating it here. I call my mom. I'm like, I'm gonna transfer. I think I want to transfer to ASU. My boyfriend at the time is there. It's only 6.5 hours away from you guys. It seems like a smart decision. My mom is saying, Alyssa, stick it out. Just stick out the year. Maybe things will get better. Stick it out. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll want to transfer to UConn. Just see where things play out. No, mom, I can't do it. I'm going to transfer. I already applied. It's just a matter of if I get accepted or not. I get accepted into ASU. So I transfer spring semester 2023 into ASU. I only spent one semester in Connecticut, and now I'm at ASU. So ASU was not the first choice. It wasn't the second choice. It wasn't even the third choice. It probably wasn't even in the top 5. But here I am. Here I am at Arizona State University, the biggest party school in the country. If you're listening, quotation marks on party school. And looking back, I could not be more proud and more happy of my decision that I made to come to ASU. So, that was my college experience, at least in the whole decision and how I got where I am. I'm going to give you guys a reality check now. So, 4 years in, 3 years in, and I'm going to tell you something. People don't actually care where you go. Okay? Can you believe that? Now, okay, I know you're probably like, what about when jobs ask and, oh my goodness, this and this and that? Your experience should back you up. Whether you went to ASU or Stanford. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't matter because I know Stanford and Harvard and Yale hold a bit more weight than ASU, and that's fine. That's fine. However, I am saying if I worked my butt off at ASU and you just got by at Stanford, I feel like I might have a better chance of getting a job than you. Just saying. And y'all might not agree with that, but as always, it's my opinion and it's my podcast. So I'm going to say whatever the hell I want. And you're probably like, she's just bitter because she didn't even get into Stanford. First of all, I didn't apply. So joke's on you. I didn't want to go to an Ivy League school. So, it's not for everybody, Martha. Okay? Anyways. So, like I said, when it comes to your school, wherever you choose, the name, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, wherever you go to. Because like I said, ASU, Arizona State University, is known as a party school. So whenever people say, hey, where do you go? And I'm like, oh, I go to ASU, Arizona State. Everyone always gives me this look like it's like, oh, you're a party girl. Huh. And at first it would kind of like make me upset because it's like, no, like ASU parties as much as like any school. Back in the day, yeah, ASU was a huge party school, and I get that. But the dean has done a lot of things to kind of like, no, the president has done a lot of things to like change things and turn things around. So I feel like it's just as much the party school as any freaking school. But besides that, I've worked my ass off here. I've worked extremely hard. Now, I didn't want to get a 4.0 like I did in high school because I just didn't want to I didn't want to put that pressure on me. But I've still managed to get good grades. I've still managed to keep my GPA above a 3.6 going into my 4th year of doing so. At one point, I even held a double major at ASU. 2 completely unrelated fields, psychology and sports journalism. You do the math. I've held an internship for 2 years. One of those years as double major. So, I wasn't just partying. I've actually never been to a party at ASU. Maybe that makes me a loser. That's fine. I probably am a loser, but a smart loser, so clock that. But what you do with your time and your effort matters so much more than the name of your school. My nose is so itchy right now. Sorry you guys had to see that. That's going to be online forever. Me like itching the shit out of my nose. What you do with your time and your effort matters way more than the name of your school. Yes, some people at ASU do choose to spend their time partying 24/7, and that's totally fine. That's not me. So you cannot look at me and the partier and say, oh, you guys are the exact same because you both wanted to go to ASU. No. Because not everybody who chooses to go to ASU is like that. Did you know ASU has the top journalism school in the country? Yeah. Crazy. ASU does. Princeton also has a journalism school. But hey, it's not the top one. ASU is. Crazy how that works, huh? Huh? But as always, what do I know? Nothing, I'm just a girl with a mic. Anyways, so now time for some advice, as always. And this is my favorite part of my podcast, is the advice portion. My mic's like tangled up, so I'm untangling it. Oh my god, my nose is fucking itchy. Holy shit. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry. So, looking back 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I keep saying 4. Yeah. Well, 3-ish, 4 years ago, because I graduated in 2022. But I started looking at colleges in 2021. So, 3-ish, 4 years ago. If I could look at high school lists in the face, and so all of my high school students that are listening, or people who are thinking about transferring, or going back to college, or looking into colleges, whatever that may be, it does not matter where you pick to go to school. It doesn't matter one bit. You don't have to have a dream school if you don't have one. You don't have to have a poster on your wall that you've been looking up to for years. You don't. Some people do, and that is totally, totally fine. But you don't. Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. My nose is so itchy. At the end of the day, a degree is a degree no matter where you get it. Yes, Yale might be more prestigious than ASU. I'm not going to say it's not, because it is. It is. And that's totally fine. But I am learning the same thing at ASU as a student at Yale. Most likely. Am I getting the same professor experience? Probably not. I could be getting a better one. One of my professors this year worked with NASA, so that's pretty cool. So, I would love to tell high school Alyssa that. I would also like to let you know that when it comes to successfully picking has quotation marks on it, by the way, a school, there's no such thing. As long as you're okay with your decision, that is all that matters. You don't have to justify yourself to anybody. You don't have to make anybody understand why you picked the way you picked. You don't have to make anybody understand why that's your dream school, why that's where you want to go. You don't have to. Unless, obviously, if your parents are financially supporting that college, then maybe explain to them a little bit why you want to go there. Don't just say, Mom, I want to go to Yale, and then them be like, why? And you're like, I don't know, it just seems cool. Please don't say that to your parents. Please do not waste. Please don't. Unless your parents are billionaires, then. But if your parents are billionaires and you're listening to my podcast, that's insane. Not gonna lie. Because I only have like 30 people watching this, and not all of you guys even watch it all the way through. So, yeah. I just called myself out with that one, but I don't give a shit, 'cause I'm gonna keep recording. So, yes. And you don't have to worry about getting it right. There is no such thing as getting it right. When it came to college, was so worried that I had to get it right. I had to choose the right school. I had to choose this perfect place for me for the next 4 years. And you know what that caused? That caused stress. That caused stress. It caused anxiety. It caused me to lose sleep. It caused my mental health to deteriorate. I was so worried that my life wasn't on track because it didn't look like everybody else's. I was so worried my life was an absolute mess because it didn't look like my friends who looked perfect. From what I could tell, it looked like their life was completely together. Mine didn't look like that. My life compared to theirs looked like a shit show. And I thought that was wrong. I thought my life needed to be neat and organized and perfect, and I had to do it right, or I thought that there was a wrong way to do it, because guess what? That's what people made me think. Especially when it came to picking a college. I was so worried I had to get it right, or I would feel like fucked over and screwed and like I hated my life. But I'm here to tell you that's not the case. There is no such thing as getting it right. There is no such thing as this right, perfect path for you. It's just a path. And you choose to give it the power. It doesn't have to have that much power over you if you don't let it. I don't. There are so many different paths that you can take. You don't have to go to school for 4 years. Unless if you're my little sister watching this, yes, you do. In our family, that's not an option. But that isn't the case with everybody. Some people go to trade school. Some people join the military. Some people jump right into work after high school. Some people start a family right after high school. You know? You get married and you start a family. Not everybody goes into a 4-year program and then to grad school. Is that what I'm doing? Yes, that is what I'm doing. But that doesn't mean my path is better than somebody else's. If you're not on the same path as me, that's okay. There's not a right or wrong path to take, and high schools need to stop making it seem like there is. People need to stop making it seem like their path is better than yours, or my path is better than yours, or your path is better than mine, when guess what, honey? It's not. Your path is great and my path is great, and they're not the same paths, and that's fine. You graduated a year early, that's fucking great, and that's amazing, and period. I didn't, that's great, that's fine, and that's period. I can't really snap, so bear with me. You're graduating a semester or two past your expected graduation date, that's fine and that's great, and that's still period. You didn't graduate because college was hard and you just wanted to start working. That's great, that's fine, period. You didn't even want to go to college because you think college is stupid and a waste of time, period. You started a family and got married after high school, period. I love it. I love your life. Because your path is your path and my path is my path, and we have no right to judge each other's path if we do not know how we have traveled and how we have gotten there. We have no right as human beings as people who are not perfect, as people who make mistakes, as people who have no input on other people's lives, to judge somebody else's path if you do not know what they have overcame, if you do not know the path they have walked, if you do not know the journey they have been on. You have no right to judge somebody else's path. So don't worry whether there's this right path, because guess what, babe? There isn't. There's no such thing. So, before I go, is it time? It is. It's coming up on 35 minutes. Happy 35-minute mark. As a senior in college, I have something to say. For my underclassmen or my high school kids, college is great, but it is not the defining figure of your whole entire worth. It's not. It's just college. How your college is viewed does not define you. Like I said, people view ASU as a party school, and that's fine. I'm not going to change everybody's opinion with a podcast. And I don't have to. I know my worth and I know who I am. I have a strong sense of self. So if you want to think that I party 24/7, that's fine. Maybe that gives me the upper hand. Actually, no, that does give me the upper hand. That makes me prove you wrong. And boy, do I love proving people wrong. And for all my freshmen out there, if I could go back and tell my freshman self the real role college plays in your life, I would. So I'll tell you instead, because they can't tell me. And the seniors in high school or juniors who are looking at college, or anybody really who's looking at college, or like I said, transferring, whatever. When it comes to college, it's 100% about what you make of it. If you want it to be the most important 4 years of your life, make it be the most important 4 years of your life. If you just want to get by and get a degree, get by and get a degree. Whatever you choose to do is fine, and it's right. There is no wrong way to do college. There isn't. Okay? But out of everything I just said in the past 37 minutes ish, the biggest thing I want listeners, especially high school seniors and juniors that are looking into colleges, or freshmen in college, college is not the end all be all. You don't have to have a dream school or go to the school everyone else in your family went to. Okay? At the end of the day, everyone's path is completely different. And that's a good thing. You don't have to love the school you go to either. I'll be honest, I didn't love ASU at first. The only reason I stayed was because my boyfriend at the time was here. And hey, you may be stupid. Oh my God, you're like every other dumb girl who transfers to a school because her boyfriend's there. Blah, 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 blah. I don't regret it one bit, though, because looking back at it, when I graduate in a year, I'm going to be so sad to be leaving ASU. It has given me the best people that I could have ever asked for, the best memories, and the best opportunities that a girl could ever want. I mean, did you travel to the NCAA beach volleyball tournament in Alabama? No, I didn't think so. Did you go to the Big 12 tournament with baseball in Dallas? No, I didn't think so. So, yeah. College is completely what you make of it. And it's okay if you don't have a plan. if you don't know what you want to major in, if you don't have a perfect school, you're not falling behind and you're not failing. You're on your path, and your path is perfect exactly how it is. So walk down your path with your head held high and confidence in each step. Because why not? Because your path is right in front of you. There's no point trying to take somebody else's. There's no point doing that. Your path is meant for you. So embrace that. And always, always, always remember, college does not define who you are. You define who college is. I mean, you define what college means to you. So with that being said, that is my 40-minute rant. And as for my little surprise that I said that I have, for the first time on Totally Not Unbothered, I will be having a guest next week's episode. So I hope you guys stay tuned, and I hope you guys follow so you can figure out who next week's guest is. I'm going to drop some hints so you guys can have fun guessing. But I love you guys so much. Thank you so, so, so much for listening. And as always, drink your water, get your rest, and go do something that makes you happy. I love you guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Later, skaters. Mwah!